Please welcome Nathaniel to the stage.
So I have the unenviable task of following up a talk on sex about mental health. The odd thing that I've noticed is a lot of the things I'm going to be talking about to promote good mental health are kind of similar to what Giverny was talking about with sexual health. So I'll have to think on that one. But I'm going to start by taking you back in time 5 years. For me, 2007, around this time, was the start of university. And this strange thing happened when I first got to university. For the first time in my life, I was sort of the popular kid, and the person that everyone knew and went to for advice and looked up to. And I gladly kind of climbed up on this pedestal that people had encouraged me to get on. And you can imagine what happened next, which was I kind of went from here and then way down under the ground somewhere. And it was the beginning of what I came to realize was severe depression. It was something I struggled with for about 12 months. And it took me about 4 months before I realized that that was actually what was going on, before I acknowledged that it was a problem, before I realized that it wasn't good to be facing a battle every morning to find a reason to get out of bed, or that it was bad to break uncontrollably into tears without any good reason, or that every single smallest decision was a massive battle because I had absolutely no self-confidence. But then two incredible realizations came out of this period for me which have shaped my life since. One, that I wasn't the only person at university going through that kind of experience, quite the opposite. Two, that despite being a student and having no professional experience or discernible skills, I could do something about this. So I started getting active, and for me the most cathartic thing was then using this experience in a positive way to create some change. I started blogging, working with websites which were providing resources around depression, doing radio interviews, and in my final year I set up this group called Cardiff Mental Wealth, which was a student-led initiative. And the idea behind it was looking at mental health very much in a positive way and saying, well, what can we do as students to create a difference? And we looked at how we could raise awareness, educate students about how to better look after their mental health, because we're never really taught that. What to do if you're struggling, how to recognize the signs, and where the services are for students. And despite just being a bunch of students, we actually had a really big impact in just our first year. The movement actually ended up spreading to 25 universities around the UK and has eventually led me here to work with the University of New South Wales, where we're trying out this same model. And so far I've had a really good response to it. In terms of how this fits into the concept of cure, I guess our view was, let's not just look at mental illness and then how you solve that. Let's look at more preventative. You know, how can we look after our own mental health better? Because it's not something we do very well. I agree with what Seema was saying. We're not very good at accepting negative emotions. The norm is to be happy. But the funny thing is, emotions are, it's an adaptive mechanism. They tell us whether we're doing something that is good for us or whether we're not. And so we can repeat it if it's good and stay away from it if it's bad. If you go broke, it's going to make you sad, and you probably shouldn't be repeating that experience. It wouldn't be good to feel normal about that or feel happy about that. So that was very much the angle that we took. And I think positive mental health, for me, it starts with acceptance. Acceptance of how we're feeling. Because then you can start to understand where that feeling is derived from, what's causing it. And only then can you start to create change. Because if you keep repeating the same action that is bad for you time and time again, it leads down a very, very dark road. So the question that we've been asking a lot of students is, what can you be doing on a daily basis to look after your mental health? What are you doing already? You know, we know what we do to look after our physical health. We eat well, get good sleep, get exercise, but we don't really talk about how we look after our mental health. And that's probably the biggest way to prevent mental illness, if we are conscious of that and we actively practice it. So I challenge everyone in the room to think, what do you do at the moment, every single day, that is good for your mental health? Try and think of 5. It's harder than you realize. and then go away and ask yourself, okay, well, what things could I do to make that better? Because it's such a huge part of our existence. If you look after your mental health better, you have more rewarding relationships, you get more from your experiences, more from your emotions, and life becomes a much more enriching experience for you. So I really think it is something we should be talking about a lot more. Thank you.